All right, so we're having some technical difficulties today. I apologize in advance if it continues. But today we are reading chapter 15, section 2, the end of doubt.
You're frozen again, Terry.
I was worried about that. How about now? Better?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry about that, everyone. Not really sure why I'm having technical difficulties today. We're going to go ahead and start. I'll start reading chapter 15, section 2, and hopefully this will work for all of you. All right, the end of doubt. The at-one-ment is in time, but not for time. Being in you, it is eternal. What holds remembrance of God cannot be bound by time. No more are you. For unless God is bound, you cannot be. An instant offered to the Holy Spirit is offered to God on your behalf. And in that instant, you will awaken gently in him. In the blessed instant, you will let go all your past learning, and the Holy Spirit will quickly offer you the whole lesson of peace. What can take time when all the obstacles to learning it have been removed? Truth is so far beyond time that all of it happens at once. For as it was created one, so its oneness depends not on time at all. Do not be concerned with time, and fear not the instant of holiness that will remove all fear. For the instant of peace is eternal, because it is without fear. It will come, being the lesson God gives you, through the teacher he has appointed to translate time into eternity. Blessed is God's teacher, whose joy it is to teach God's holy Son his holiness. His joy is not contained in time. His teaching is for you because his joy is yours. Through him you stand before God's altar, where he gently translates hell into heaven. For it is only in heaven that God would have you be. How long can it take to be where God would have you? For you are where you have forever been and will forever be. All that you have forever. The blessed instant reaches out to encompass time, as God extends himself to encompass you. You who have spent days, hours, and even years enchaining your brothers to your ego in an attempt to support it and uphold its weakness, do not perceive the source of strength. In this holy instant, you will unchain all your brothers and refuse to support either their weakness or your own. You do not realize how much you have misused your brothers by seeing them as sources of ego support. As a result, they witness to the ego in your perception and seem to provide reasons for not letting it go. Yet they are far stronger and much more compelling witnesses for the Holy Spirit, and they support his strength. It is therefore your choice whether they support the ego or the Holy Spirit in you, and you will recognize which you have chosen by their reactions. The Son of God who has been released through the Holy Spirit in a brother is always recognized. He cannot be denied. If you remain uncertain, it is only because you have not given complete release. And because of this, you have not given a single instant completely to the Holy Spirit. For when you have, you will be sure you have. You will be sure because the witness to him will speak so clearly of him that you will hear and understand. You will doubt until you hear one witness whom you have wholly released through the Holy Spirit. And then you will doubt no more. The holy instant has not yet happened to you, yet it will, and you will recognize it with perfect certainty. No gift of God is recognized in any other way. You can practice the mechanics of the holy instant and will learn much from doing so. Yet it's shining in glittering brilliance, which will literally blind you to this world by its own vision you cannot supply. And here it is, all in this instant, complete, accomplished, and given wholly. Start now to practice your little part in separating out the holy instant. You will receive very specific instructions as you go along to learn to separate out this single second and to experience it as timeless, is to begin to experience yourself as not separate. Fear not that you will not be given help in this. God's teacher and his lesson will support your strength. It is only your weakness that will depart from you in this practice. For it is the practice of the power of God in you. Use it but for one instant, and you will never deny it again. Who can deny the presence of what the universe bows to in appreciation and gladness? Before the recognition of the universe that witnesses to it, your doubts must disappear. I hope that came through. Did I break up at all? Oh, shoot. No? Good. Yay. Sorry, my connection is not great. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I really like that section. And I can see so many times when I was not using my brothers as a guide for the Holy Spirit, but I was using them to reinforce the ego in me by holding grievances against them, right? I mean, all of us probably thought of at least one person where we're like, yep, did that. Still maybe doing that. It's crazy, right? You know, I have a specific memory, well, several memories, especially where my work was concerned, because I think when, at least for me, because my time was so precious and I was a single mom raising kids. And if I was working, it meant I wasn't spending time with my kids. So it was that sacrifice, right? I was sacrificing my time with my kids to work. So if I had a client who was arguing with me about paying their bill or didn't want to pay their bill because I charged hourly, you know, it would compute to me, well, if you're only paying half your bill, I could have spent those 20 hours with my kids instead of you. And then I'd get angry, you know, how dare you, you know, not pay me for my time that I didn't spend with my kids and I spent with you working on your project, giving your project 100% of my time, and you don't want to pay me for that. And I would get angry. And I remember specifically one job where I was actually the guy who was, you know, demanded that I was there at his house and do all this stuff and meet with all his contractors. And then he was trying to tell me that he didn't want to pay me for it. I got so upset that I was literally in tears, and I walked away. And to this day, I don't like how I handled that situation. You know, it's still, I practice the forgiveness and I practice like letting go. And even though like in my ego mind, I was right and he was wrong, the fact that I'm still harboring that resentment, you know, and I'm not even harboring this resentment anymore as much as I am harboring the resentment about how I handled it, right? So forgiving myself really for not showing up in a way that I knew better. You know, I was practicing A Course in Miracles then, but my ego got in the way and I just, you know, I went at it the wrong way. And then I can also see where I went at things like that in a completely different way, where I allowed my brother to be that witness to the Holy Spirit instead of to the ego, and how much better that went, and how those relationships were so much more fruitful. And even in so much that a client that I had in the past had one of those egregious relationships, again, over money. And, you know, they refused to pay me, I don't know, a couple $1,000s, and we parted and went our separate ways. And the universe came us, you know, brought us crashing back together again. And I remember just completely letting go of the grievance and just being accepting and loving towards this person. And to this day, we have an amazing relationship. I went on to do a lot more work for her. She paid me everything that I asked her for, and even more. And now we just have this amazing, amazing relationship. And it's so funny how, we let money get in the way of so many things, that if we just let go of that and realize that we are abundant and the money will come, we just have to let go of seeing it coming from that particular area at that particular moment. And instead, choose love instead of fear, choose abundance instead of lack.
I hate money.
I think, again, it's that money mindset, right? And I've done a lot of work with that. It's how we think about money, right? It is, if we think about it as this bargaining tool, I don't know, it kind of puts it into the ego realm and the fear-based realm, versus if we think of it maybe as an extension of love and service.
And money beliefs is something I struggle with heavily. And so one of the things I've been practicing is separating money as a word even out of my brain, because paper money hasn't existed for that long anyway. It's just a made up concept, right? For energy exchange between one person and another, whether it's goods or services. I've been trying to get out of the goods service for a while because I've just never felt good about selling people anything. I'm like, I don't think you need any of this stuff, but I understand why you're buying it, kind of thing. So when I have started to detach from that, because I kind of have an opposite problem where, like, if somebody wants to cancel on me, even though I have a 48-hour policy, I'm like, okay, no big deal, even though it strictly states that you still pay me for that session, even if you, for the same reason. I have time. It's very precious to me with my family as well, but I haven't enforced it when they canceled on me because it's a money belief situation, I'm sure, but the higher self in me was like, I don't want to do a coaching session with somebody if they're not in the right headspace. If I'm like, I'm still going to charge you for this, they're not going to want to come back to it. They might, if they respect me, right? That's the ultimate goal. But I have gotten to a place where I'm like, I'm okay with that. Like if I was going to be in my office doing something anyway, cool. I'm probably gonna be a little bit more frustrated on a Friday afternoon if you canceled on me, but that was also my mistake for scheduling it if I didn't really want to work. So it's that dichotomy of trying to figure out the balance of all of that, but just trusting. Olivia knows when I'm talking. Just trusting, like you had said, that I will be taken care of. If this money didn't come in from this session, somebody's either going to bring me a meal that I didn't know I needed or offer me advice that I didn't know I needed. It will come in a different form, or it might just come in money and more money, like you had said earlier. Right. When you can release. Ugh.
True. And that's why there are amazing coaches that help you work with your money mindset that I've taken full advantage of. All right. Any other comments about this particular section? End of doubt. I want to say hi to Pam. I see you're on here. Lovely picture of you with the water in the background, but it's great to have you here. And I'll apologize already again because my internet connection has been a little bit wonky today. So if I go in and out in reading, I apologize. All right, let's go ahead and I will continue. We are going into littleness versus magnitude.
Terry, come home.
Oops. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's not even screen sharing.
No. Her frozen pictures there.
I don't even have a frozen picture other than the little thing
Yeah,
that
the
says
little
Gary
one. Yeah,
Ludwig.
that's what I'm saying. Her
started-
little frozen picture.
Oh, that, yeah. Whoops.
Yeah, she got. Oh, there she is. She's back.
There she's back. And she's muted. You're muted, Terry.
All right, back.
Yeah.
Yeah, my computer is being very strange today. So again, I apologize in advance. All right, let's go back to the reading. I'm going to go ahead and start reading again. Okay. Got to go back to recording. Okay, I've got to share my screen again. There we go. Okay.
No, yep, there we go.
Okay. Chapter 15, littleness versus magnitude. Be not content with littleness. We just talked about that. But be sure you understand what littleness is and why you could never be content with it. Littleness is the offering you give yourself. You offer this in place of magnitude, and you accept it. Everything in this world is little because it is a world made out of littleness and the strange belief that littleness can content you. When you strive for anything in this world in the belief that it will bring you peace, you are belittling yourself and blinding yourself to glory. Littleness and glory are the choices open to your striving and your vigilance. You will always choose one at the expense of the other. Yet what you do not realize each time you choose is that your choice is your evaluation of yourself. Choose littleness and you will not have peace, for you will have judged yourself unworthy of it. And whatever you offer as a substitute is much too poor a gift to satisfy you. It is essential that you accept the fact and accept it gladly that there is no form of littleness that can ever content you. You are free to try as many as you wish, but all you will be doing is to delay your homecoming, for you will be content only in magnitude, which is your home. There is a deep responsibility you owe yourself, and one you must learn to remember all the time. The lesson may seem hard at first, but you will learn to love it when you realize that it is true and it is but a tribute to your power. You who have sought and found littleness, remember this: every decision you make stems from what you think you are and represents the value that you put upon yourself. Believe that little can content you, and by limiting yourself, you will not be satisfied. For your function is not little, and it is only by finding your function and fulfilling it that you can escape from littleness. There's no doubt about what your function is, for the Holy Spirit knows what it is. There's no doubt about its magnitude, for it reaches you through him from magnitude. You do not have to strive for it because you have it. All your striving must be directed against littleness, and it does require vigilance to protect your magnitude in this world. To hold your magnitude in perfect awareness in a world of littleness is a task the little cannot undertake. Yet it is asked of you in tribute to your magnitude and not your littleness. Nor is it asked of you alone. The power of God will support every effort you make on behalf of his dear Son. Search for the little, and you deny yourself his power. God is not willing that his Son be content with less than everything, for he is not content without his Son, and his Son cannot be content with less than his Father has given him. I asked you earlier, would you be hostage to the ego or host to God? Let this question be asked you by the Holy Spirit every time you make a decision. For every decision you make does answer this and invites sorrow or joy accordingly. When God gave himself to you and your creation, he established you as host to him forever. He has not left you, and you have not left him. All your attempts to deny his magnitude and make his son hostage to the ego, cannot make little whom God has joined with him. Every decision you make is for heaven or for hell, and brings you the awareness of what you decided for. The Holy Spirit can hold your magnitude clean of all littleness, clearly and in perfect safety in your mind, untouched by every little gift the world of littleness would offer you. But for this, you cannot side against him and what he wills for you. Decide for God through him. For littleness and belief that you can be content with littleness are decisions you make about yourself. The power and the glory that lie in you from God are for all who, like you, perceive themselves as little and believe that littleness can be blown up into a sense of magnitude that can content them. Neither give littleness nor accept it. All honor is due the host of God. Your littleness deceives you, but your magnitude is of him who dwells in you and in whom you dwell. Touch no one then with littleness in the name of Christ, eternal host unto his Father. In this season, Christmas, which celebrates the birth of holiness into this world, join with me who decided for holiness for you. It is our task together to restore the awareness of magnitude to the host whom God appointed for himself. It is beyond all your littleness to give the gift of God, but not beyond you. For God would give himself through you. He reaches from you to everyone and beyond everyone to his son's creations, but without leaving you. Far beyond your little world, but still in you. He extends forever. Yet he brings all his extensions to you as host to him. Is it a sacrifice to leave littleness behind and wander not in vain? It is not sacrifice to wake to glory, but it is sacrifice to accept anything less than glory. Learn that you must be worthy of the Prince of Peace, born in you in honor of him whose host you are. You know not what love means because you have sought to purchase it with little gifts, thus valuing it too little to understand its magnitude. Love is not little, and love dwells in you, for you are host to him. Before the greatness that lives in you, your poor appreciation of yourself and all the little offerings you give slip into nothingness. Holy child of God, when will you learn that only holiness can content you and give you peace? Remember that you learn not for yourself alone, no more than I did. It is because I learned for you that you can learn of me. I would but teach you what is yours, so that together we can replace the shabby littleness that binds the host of God to guilt and weakness with the glad awareness of the glory that is in him. My birth in you is your awakening to grandeur. Welcome me not into a manger, but into the altar to holiness, where holiness abides in perfect peace. My kingdom is not of this world because it is in you, and you are of your Father. Let us join in honoring you, who must remain forever beyond littleness. Decide with me who has decided to abide with you. I will as my Father wills, knowing his will is constant and at peace forever with itself. You will be content with nothing but his will. Accept no less, remembering that everything I learned is yours. What my Father loves, I love, as he does. And I can no more accept it as what it is not than he can. And no more can you. When you have learned to accept what you are, you will make no more gifts to offer to yourself. for you will know you are complete, in need of nothing, and unable to accept anything for yourself. But you will gladly give, having received. The host of God needs not seek to find anything. If you are wholly willing to leave salvation to the plan of God and unwilling to attempt to grasp for peace yourself, salvation will be given you. Yet think not you can substitute your plan for his. Rather, join with me in his, that we may release all those who would be bound, proclaiming together that the Son of God is host to him. Thus we will let no one forget what you would remember, and thus will you remember it. Call forth in everyone only the remembrance of God and the heaven that is in him. For where you would have your brother be, there will you think you are. Hear not his appeal to hell and littleness, but only his call for heaven and greatness. Forget not that his call is yours, and answer him with me. God's power is forever on the side of his host, for it protects only the peace in which he dwells. Lay not littleness before his holy altar, which rises above the stars and reaches even to heaven, because of what is given it. I love that. And isn't it just another reminder? Like, we're always trying to get things for ourselves and get things for ourselves and get things for ourselves. And here it is, we have everything already. We have everything. We're complete. And if we would just know that and just give, then we would know the world thinks. Oh gosh, all you guys are frozen again.
Oh, we can hear you, but you're frozen. I'm not. It's not my turn.
You there, Terry?
She's getting a nice meditation in.
Yeah. She's got that Buddha face on.
She does. Rachel, you're the host now.
A lot of pressure.
Pressure, yeah.
There she comes.
Oh, she's back.
Maybe.
It's the craziest thing. I don't know what's going on today. Sorry, guys.
Life is good.
Did I break up while I was reading it all, or was it okay?
No, it's fine.
Reading was fine.
How strange is that? So what I was trying to say is, you know, the world is just the opposite of what we think it is. Oh my gosh, and everybody's frozen again. What is going on? Okay, you're back. Anybody have anything they want to share, since you probably can't hear me anyway?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. At the top of 308, when you were reading it, I wrote a note and I said, am I a gift giver because I fear I'm not enough? Because that's my love language, is gift giving. And then on 309, as you were reading it, when you have learned to accept what you are, and you will make no more gifts to offer yourself, for you will know you are complete, in need of nothing, and unable to accept anything for yourself, but you will gladly give. So that was kind of like a little bit of a relief, is that I think there's truth to my statement, but also some falsehood.
Yeah.
I believe that is why I am a giver, is because I feel like showing up as my true authentic self will not be enough. But in the same sense, there has definitely been some things, whether it's words or actual physical gifts, that I feel like internally my higher self's like, yeah, you knocked that one out of the park. so they both have benefits, I think.
That's awesome. I was thinking about that too, when you said that, when somebody doesn't show up for a session that you don't charge them, but then you weren't sure, is that because I'm there anyway? Or is it because I feel like they owe me something? Like, I don't want to charge them because I'm unworthy, right?
Whenever people try to bargain with me for my artwork, I always I'll charge $25 for one of my prints, and they'll try to say, well, will you take 20? I says, well, just give me 15. So I figure if they're trying to bargain with me for that, then they want it more than I'm willing to bargain with them, so I'll give it to them for less. I figure that it's like you give when you can. And that always brings something back, because what goes around comes around. Always.
Right. So true. So true. It's like there was a time in my life, and I know I shared this with some of you guys, that I was just in a really low place and I needed a place to live, and someone actually gave me the gift of their house, which was amazing.
It's amazing.
I'm frozen again.
You're not.
Oh, good. That's good.
Well, this kind of reminds me of so the statement about how people are afraid to step into their light was a really hard concept for me to grasp for a very long time, because it was like, why would people want to hold themselves? Well, you kind of get it, but stepping into your light is something that I'm starting to focus on a little bit more, because I'm starting to realize that I've done it, and I'm struggling in my personal relationship, because I started as a very young woman, and now it's 10 years later. Now I've done personal development, but I still can't see myself as somebody who can bring value to the relationship, since my husband is 10 years older than me. I always have this view that he's always going to be smarter, more intelligent, more experienced than I am, or whatever. So I dwindle my light that I have been harnessing for the last 10 years, because I'm fearful, and I've been trying to dig at that. I'm like, well, why? Because you have these things that you could benefit the world and your relationship by bringing to it. But I'm too fearful of losing what I have, even though on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably 6, 7, or 8 on a good day. But I'm fearful of losing the 6, 7, 8 for the potential of the 10. And that's what I'm working towards, having that comfort again, and knowing, again, I'll always be taken care of, but knowing that I don't know why that fear has to hold on to you more than that unlimited potential possibility of amazingness that is possible.
Yep. And it's what we just read, right? It's just acknowledging it, accepting it, and owning it. And then putting it into practice, right? That's the fearful part, taking that step and acting on it, acting as if you already are complete and whole.
Because it's more than as if, it is there.
That's right.
It is there.
Exactly. Exactly. Anybody else want to share before I attempt to read and hopefully don't get knocked out again? All right, I'm going to go ahead and try to share my screen. Hopefully I won't have any problems. All right, so now we are practicing the holy instant, which again, of course, is what we were just talking about. Putting it into practice. Let's see how we do that. This course is not beyond immediate learning, unless you believe that what God wills takes time. And this means only that you would rather delay the recognition that his will is so. The holy instant is this instant and every instant. The one you want it to be, it is. The one you would not have it be is lost to you. You must decide when it is. Delay it not. For beyond the past and future, where you will not find it, it stands in shimmering readiness for your acceptance. Yet you cannot bring it into glad awareness while you do not want it, for it holds the whole release from littleness. Your practice must therefore rest upon your willingness to let all littleness go. The instant in which magnitude dawns upon you is but as far away as your desire for it. As long as you desire it not and cherish littleness instead, by so much is it far from you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh is right.
Terry, can you hear us? Hello? Oh, you're in charge now. Oh, there's her video. She's muted.
I'm back. All right, guys, how far did I get before I froze on all of you?
Sentence 4.
Was paragraph 4, I think. Yeah.
Paragraph 2, sentence 4.
Yeah.
By so much. Okay. All right. Let me continue. And again, I apologize. Am I sharing my screen?
Not
Or
yet.
is it not yet? Okay.
It's you.
Okay. Let's share the screen again. Thanks for bearing with me today, guys. All right. I will go ahead and reread paragraph 2. I hope I don't get knocked off again. All right. Your practice must therefore rest upon your willingness to let all littleness go. The instant in which magnitude dawns upon you is but as far away as your desire for it. As long as you desire it not and cherish littleness instead, by so much is it far from you. By so much as you want it, will you bring it nearer. Think not that you can find salvation in your own way and have it. Give over every plan you have made for your salvation in exchange for God's. His will content you, and nothing else can bring you peace, for peace is of God, and no one beside him. Be humble before him, and yet great in him, and value no plan of the ego before the plan of God. For you leave empty your place in his plan, which you must fill if you would join with me by your decision to join in any plan but his. I call you to fulfill your holy part in the plan that he has given to the world for its release from littleness. God would have his host abide in perfect freedom. Every allegiance to a plan of salvation apart from him diminishes the value of his will for you in your own mind. And yet, it is your mind that is the host to him. Would you learn how perfect and immaculate is the holy altar on which your Father has placed himself? This you will recognize in the holy instant, in which you willingly and gladly give over every plan but his. For there lies peace, perfectly clear because you have been willing to meet its conditions. You can claim the holy instant anytime and anywhere you want it. In your practice, try to give over every plan you have accepted for finding magnitude in littleness. It is not there. Use the holy instant only to recognize that you alone cannot know where it is and can only deceive yourself. I stand within the holy instant as clear as you would have me, and the extent to which you learn to accept me is the measure of the time in which the holy instant will be yours. I call to you to make the holy instant yours at once, For the release from littleness in the mind of the host of God depends on willingness and not on time. The reason this course is simple is that truth is simple. Complexity is of the ego and is nothing more than the ego's attempt to obscure the obvious. You could live forever in the holy instant, beginning now and reaching to eternity, but for a very simple reason. Do not obscure the simplicity of this reason. For if you do, it will be only because you prefer not to recognize it and not to let it go. The simple reason, simply stated, is this. The holy instant is a time in which you receive and give perfect communication. This means, however, that it is a time in which your mind is open, both to receive and give. It is the recognition that all minds are in communication. It therefore seeks to change nothing, but merely to accept everything. How can you do this when you would prefer to have private thoughts and keep them? The only way you could do that would be to deny the perfect communication that makes the holy instant what it is. You believe you can harbor thoughts you would not share, and that salvation lies in keeping thoughts to yourself alone. For in private thoughts, known only to yourself, you think you find a way to keep what you would have alone and share what you would share. And then you wonder why it is that you are not in full communication with those around you and with God who surrounds all of you together. Every thought you would keep hidden shuts communication off because you would have it so. It is impossible to recognize perfect communication while breaking communication holds value to you. Ask yourself honestly, would I want to have perfect communication? And am I wholly willing to let everything that interferes with it go forever? If the answer is no, then the Holy Spirit's readiness to give it to you is not enough to make it yours, for you are not ready to share it with him. And it cannot come into a mind that has decided to oppose it. For the holy instant is given and received with equal willingness, being the acceptance of the single will that governs all thought. The necessary condition for the holy instant does not require that you have no thoughts that are not pure, but it does require that you have none that you would keep. Innocence is not of your making. It is given you the instant you would have it. At one moment would not be there if there were no need for it. You will not be able to accept perfect communication as long as you would hide it from yourself. For what you would hide is hidden from you. In your practice, then, try only to be vigilant against deception and seek not to protect the thoughts you would keep to yourself. Let the Holy Spirit's purity shine them away and bring all your awareness to the readiness for purity he offers you. Thus will he make you ready to acknowledge that you are host to God and hostage to no one and to nothing. And that's it. I guess that's how you practice the holy instant. What do you think that means?
I was just going to ask you, Terry, because I'm not sure in paragraph 9, necessary condition for the holy instant does not require that you have no thoughts that are not pure, but it does require that you have none that you would keep. And when I read that, it makes it sound like if you have a thought that comes into your head, go ahead and just say it. Don't keep it, but say it. But I don't believe that that's correct, because I think if all of us spoke every thought that came into our head, it would be no bueno.
I'm thinking that it's more like if you have a secret that you are hiding from others in attempt to make yourself safe, or an attempt to deceive others. I think it's those hidden secrets that you don't necessarily have to come clean to the person, but you have to come clean to yourself and say, why am I hiding this?
It's kind of like that, the phrase about the truth setting you free.
Right,
If you keep
Right.
it real and don't hide from yourself.
right, exactly. I think it's more, if you're pretending to be someone you're not, if you're, I don't know, maybe even if you're having an affair, right? And you've got this other relationship, you're only hurting yourself because you're burying yourself in your littleness. Like, I'm unworthy. I have to keep this hidden. I have to keep this a secret. I have to keep, whatever it is that you feel that you have to keep a secret is because you don't feel worthy. You're not accepting your magnitude. You're making yourself small and little so that you can have these other things on the side that make you feel bigger. Right?
Right.
And all they do in essence is keep you smaller and then make you feel guilty for having these secrets.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's how I'm reading it. If anybody else is seeing something different, feel free to share your thoughts about that.
No, I agree with you, but I think I take it one step further just for personal peace, is that to me, I kind of interpreted it as also like a thought about myself. Like when I am in doubt about who I am and I let my past programming of who do you think you are, you're not good enough. Those are the places that I'm trying to pause and go, is that really me saying that? Or is that a voice I let tell me that over time? So that's how I interpret it. But I did highlight the exact same sentence, by the way.
Yeah. And, and all of those other things would probably come from the fact of you're not feeling worthy and not feeling good enough. A lot of those other behaviors. And I am frozen again. So I'm not sure if I'm going to reboot everything again or if I'll come back.
You're still
You're
there.
back. We
on our
can
side.
hear you now. We can hear you and see you, Terry.
I'm just going to wait a minute.
Is everybody else frozen? Oh, there she goes.
Now she's frozen. All I had to do was say it.
Oh, you
she's
can?
back.
Yeah,
Oh,
not now. Oh, there it is. There you are.
that's funny. I can hear you guys sometimes, but most of the time you're frozen. So I'm not sure how this whole thing is going to replay. I'm
That's what we
probably
get
not
for
going to
living up here.
What?
That's
What's
what we get
that?
for living up here. We're all frozen.
You're all in the frozen tundra.
That's right.
But I think it's starting with my internet. I think my internet, there's something wrong with it today. But I'm not sure I'm going to continue to read because we only have 10 more minutes and I'm not even sure if I'll get bumped out and back on again in time for us to even discuss afterwards. But I think we had a lot of really interesting things to discuss today. I mean, even just for reading the last couple of sections, I mean, they're big sections, right? Accepting the magnitude of the truth of who you are and what you are, and not accepting your littleness. That's huge.
I like the part in paragraph 6. The reason this course is simple is that the truth is simple. Complexity is of the ego, no kidding. And it's nothing more than the ego's attempt to obscure the obvious. You could live forever in the holy instant, beginning now and reaching to eternity, but for a very simple reason. And then it goes down and paragraph or line 5, the simple reason, simply stated, is that the holy instant is the time in which you receive and give perfect communication. This means, however, that it is a time in which your mind is open, both to receive and give. That struck me as well, because how many times, Terry, have you said that this course is just really simple? It's just not easy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could just practice these 3 sections over and over and over and over, right? In our forget the rest of the course. If we could just take these 3 sections and just really practice them. That's it. That's it, right? Just to allow us to embrace the magnitude of what we are
Mhm.
and allow the Holy Spirit to be in it.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. While she's trying to come back on.
Okay, I can hear you guys, but you're
Oh, there
frozen.
you are. At the end of that paragraph 6, where it was talking about the recognition of all minds are in communication, it therefore seeks to change nothing, but merely to accept everything. It reminds me of Byron Katie's, your peaceful acceptance of what is really where your holy instant is at. Oh, she's back.
I'm back. Welcome back. You said at the end of paragraph 6, and then it like went crazy again.
The last sentence said, seek to change nothing, but merely to accept everything.
Right.
For me, that was peaceful acceptance of what is where you live permanently in the holy instant. That's like Byron Katie on steroids, where, I just think of her book, Loving What Is. And that any resistance to what is what creates your suffering.
Right. Absolutely.
And line 6 in paragraph 8 reiterates that for the holy instant is given and received with equal willingness, being the acceptance of the single will which governs all thought.
Yep.
So,
So I guess our challenge and our goal this week would be just to invite the Holy Spirit in to all of our conversations, all of our thoughts, all of our actions, and be vigilant for that, right? In whatever we do, just keep inviting and connecting and allowing.
or even recognizing that it's there.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Right.
getting, just dropping off what's covering it.
Mhm. Let go, let God, right?
Whoa.
I agree.
Where did that come from?
My dog, I'm upstairs because my downstairs bathroom is torn apart. The contractor's working. She just heard them banging. And so my dog has been sleeping here on the floor, and she just heard the boogeyman and had to defend me.
Oh, that's sweet. That's
Come on,
sweet.
Josie.
I love that.
See, she's my girl. Look, that's my girl.
Aw, hi, Josie. Hi, baby. Oh, she's so sweet. Hi, baby.
She
My
really
God.
is a sweet girl. I just love her. So
She
anyway.
is sweet. All right. Well, I love that. And I'm going to do that this week. Be vigilant of my greatness and my magnitude and not allow the littleness to enter. And if it does, recognize it and
Shed the
call on
light.
the Holy Spirit.
One other thing that I thought of is when we talk about recognizing what our magnitude is, it's interesting that could be, I think, our conditioning, my conditioning anyway, that's kind of conceited, that's a little arrogant, like it comes full circle back to, who do you think you are? But I think it's all in changing the context of that word and your magnitude in a non-arrogant way and recognizing fully. And for me, that's difficult. It's like Rachel with the tapes that have been played over and over and over and over and over in your head. Fill in the blank. I'm not enough this, or I'm not this, I'm not that. And again, it's that resistance to what is perfect, child of God, which again, even that, because I don't have the religious indoctrination, that just sounds very foreign to me too. So as a result, because of the language, then I tend to resist the verbiage as well, because it's like when you first started, Terry, and you said even the word God made you uncomfortable. There
Right.
still are some things in the way this is worded that really makes me uncomfortable. So again, I guess for me, it's a matter of, just peel back one more layer of that onion,
Right.
and allow yourself to understand the concept and the words in a different way, and forget about what your past tapes have told you about that. You think you're all that in a bag of chips. You're a conceited jerk. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And just to really know that words are but symbols of symbols.
The symbols of symbols. Exactly. And each mind, if you will, has their own connotation as to what that word means, or
Yeah.
what any particular word or groups of words or phrases means, and
Right.
the picture that evokes in your head.
Yep. Yeah. And just to realize that all of your brothers, like all of you, my only task is to just be love and give love to all of you. Right. I mean, and that's easy to do because we're all in the same mindedness journey. Right. But to be able to do that when we're out in the world, right, of littleness, to see all of our brothers and just realize that our only task is to give love and to acknowledge that we are love, and to understand that your opinion of me is none of my business, because I'm not willing to be little, right? I need to just know and accept my magnitude.
I struggle with that because sometimes my perception of others that don't understand this in general, or they don't understand like where I'm coming from when I say certain things, I get very frustrated with the littleness, with the thoughts, and then my ego interferes, and literally my thought is, are you kidding me? Like, you just don't even freaking get it. You don't get it. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I struggle with that. It's hard to see that light in your brothers. I get overwhelmed thinking, oh, there's so many things I would love to share with you and teach you, but you can't impose anything that you have internalized onto another person. And when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. But and that sometimes for me is a sticking point where I can't get past that. For somebody who chooses, I need to accept the fact that some people continue to choose to see things in that space of littleness.
Or you can choose to see that they are giving you a gift, that they are not little at all, that they are complete and whole and perfect just as they are. But the fact that you can't see that in them is your challenge, and therefore they're coming to you with a gift, and they're saying,
Yep.
in spite of my littleness that I'm showing you right now, I want you to see me perfect and complete and whole.
Mm-hmm. My challenge is knowing that they're perfect and whole as they are, and having them speak words that do not reflect that they see that of themselves. Maybe I didn't clarify that.
No, I totally get it. I get what you're saying completely. I think for me, it goes back to that movie of the book, The Little Soul in the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh, and how you remember that story, right, Alicia?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so it's not their job to show you their wholeness. It's their job to reflect the littleness, and it's your job to see the wholeness through the littleness, right? Like it, I shouldn't say through the littleness. I would say while disregarding the littleness.
But that's what I'm saying, that sometimes my frustration is seeing the wholeness, and them not having the recognition that there is that wholeness. Sometimes that's a greater frustration than anything else for me. I get a stiff neck from shaking my head,
Yeah,
but I see what you're
I
saying.
totally get it. And I think it goes back again to, once you see the wholeness in yourself, it'll be easier to see the wholeness in
Oh,
others.
yeah, that's an issue sometimes.
Right? So if you see the magnitude and greatness in yourself, the littleness in others won't bother you because you'll see past it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
See that.
And in your vision, the vision gets clarified. And line 3 or line 1 in paragraph 3, be humble before him, yet great in him. Helps with that sense of like maybe being arrogant or condemning or seeing, but we're great in him.
In him. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that, Carol.
Yeah.
Thank
In
you.
that same paragraph, there's God would have his host abide in perfect freedom. The dude abides.
That's another
Yeah.
t-shirt, Carl.
Another t-shirt. Yeah.
Dude abides.
That's awesome. I love that. All right, guys. Well, I think we're past 1:30. We've kind of made it. I got bounced out 3 times.
Hopscotch.
Hopefully next week will be better. And I appreciate you sticking with me and staying here for this, even in light of all of the craziness.
No worries.
But see you all next week, hopefully.
Yeah.
Bye,
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for sharing all of this really great session today.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.